Celtic 2, Ross County 1, as Celtic go 9 points clear. Happy days, everyone. Jared from Celtic Down Under podcast, joined by Sean, also from our podcast, and Lawrence Connolly. We're all here on the Celtic State of Mind YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, give that a subscribe. But let's put that to the side. Celtic come from behind to win the game. Job done, 3 points in the bag. All I have to say is we picked up an extra couple of points because of a draw. So now, Lawrence, what was your overall take on the second half?
Hatate was better. Listen, it was better, a bit more urgency. The ref didn't improve any, did he? Was he
Nah,
just
not at all.
things up again? It was. I think before the kick-off, we all said if there was a VAR penalty, it wouldn't be for Celtic, it'd be for Ross County, and so proved. Yeah. Listen, it's 3 points. We're going into break. It's now like a mini league, isn't it? You know, 23 games left, 69 points to play for. We're 8 clear. Yeah. It's
9 clear.
You're taking this at kick off.
9 clear, yeah.
9 clear.
Yeah, sorry, 9 clear. So we need to take out 23, 69. We need to take 61 points.
Lawrence, 7 points clear was the biggest lead that Postecoglou's had over anyone called Sevco, and now 9 points is the biggest lead he's ever had over anyone called Sevco. So absolutely swimming in it.
I want to bring up a comment here from Martin Bickett, where to take back my comments on Turnbull, we're all watching the game together in the same little stream, just going on, and I've absolutely slated Turnbull, and 2 minutes later, bang, score. So I'm with you, mate. Overall, for us, I'm thinking Turnbull's goal, good. Haksabanović's goal, wowee. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Class finish. And, there's a comment I'm going to bring up from Magnet67. Spare a thought for the poor officials. They must be gutted that we keep winning no matter what they throw at us. I think we're all thinking the same sort of thing on that one. But let us know your thoughts in the comments, everyone, on the game. Like, who were your top 3 performers? Anything, areas for improvement, and what you're going to be doing during the next 5-week break until the next Celtic League game.
Look, we absolutely called it before the game when I said even money for a penalty, and you guys bounced back to me with, but for Ross County, and there it was. So if you stuck your money on it, it was easy money. We called it before the game, it happened. And then 15 seconds before the winning goal was scored, I said, this is why we signed Haksabanović, to take the ball in these tight positions, to get possession in tight areas and show his quality. And then 5 seconds later, he bangs in that lovely finish from that tight angle. And that is, I know he's been not shown his full potential, but that is absolutely why we want players of that quality in our team, to get quality finishes like that. And it was absolutely beautiful, and it was the difference today.
Yeah, Haksabanović, beautiful goal, but the referee tried everything, didn't he? Loads of injury time as well, surprisingly.
Pretty funny considering, we were talking about it while watching the game the second half, that there was a VAR and a penalty. There was a couple of head knocks where guys had to get treatment and be off. There was 8 players substituted from 4 stoppages, yet it was 4 minutes given. Yet down in Paisley, it was 1 head knock and 10 minutes given. So, it's just odd. But anyway, I don't really want to talk about the rest. We're in celebration mode. 9 points clear. So what we'll do is we'll go through the team, have a bit of a chat about overall performances. We'll just go through in terms of how do you think Joe Hart performed, the defence, and we'll just talk about different players within each of them. So overall, Joe Hart, my thoughts, didn't really have too much to do, but did all right in my opinion. What do you think, Lawrence?
Yeah, nothing to do, and he done it well. I don't know many times Ross County generally threatened us. Did a couple of shots. Yeah. Joe didn't have much to do. He moved the ball quickly. yeah, I don't think Ross County offered too much going forward at all. So, yeah, he was okay.
You got anything to add there, Sean?
Well, I know we said, and Joe Hart, no, not specifically, but I know, yeah, before the game we were saying 3-0s and 4-1s, but if you actually think back to midweek, Jad, we were calling it a bit more close than that because Ross County are in good form, and we were giving it kind of 2-1s and 4-2s, and that's the way the last 3 games have been. They've all been 2-1s and 4-2s, close games that have been decided by a goal or a late goal, and it's it really. You have to give us max credit for the combative nature of these wins.
Oh, we're playing against Ross County, are a bunch of hammer throwers the size of them, and it's not a small team. They go out there, and if they can't win the ball, they'll take the man. Like, it doesn't surprise me that they're that sort of score lines. But Lawrence going, what was it, 7-1, Lawrence, pre-game?
Yeah, 7-1. But you call Ross County hammer throwers, but they only get 5 fouls. They get 14.
Aye, that's as much to do with the referees, anything.
It's utterly bizarre, isn't it?
What was it? You said 5 fouls? How many yellow cards? 4, 5?
Oh, God knows.
But they had at least 3 yellow cards that I can remember off the top of my head. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they had 4. Sorry, 4 yellow cards. So you're saying they committed five fouls, but they had 4 yellow cards. So how does that work out?
Yeah,
They got value for money. There you go.
More or less, only gave the fouls that he couldn't not give.
If you
Sean,
get
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When the referee goes play on, does that count as a foul or not?
Not in the stats. It does not count in the
There you
stats.
go. That's what it was then.
But if you get 5 yellow cards, that counts as failing to control your players and bringing the game into disrepute. So we're one away from that. So, and I'd say referees don't want to foul the match report on that kind of thing. So, hey, just looking at the results from today, we're the only team that scored 2 goals out of 10 teams that played today.
Is that because everyone's got an eye on to getting through the World Cup break, or is it because everyone's buggered from playing twice a week all season?
Well, that's it, isn't it? Us, Sevco and Hearts have been playing twice a week all season, and then everyone else has joined in the party this week with a midweek game, and they've all absolutely flapped at it. So I guess it's just a welcome to the party for everyone else in the league.
Yep. Okay, so the back line.
Sorry, I was going to say, if you look back every year when it gets to, I know this isn't December, but when you get to December and that kind of spell, you do see a lot of 1-each games in around about that time.
Yeah, so, it's going to be pretty crowded second half of the season as well. But back line overall, so Burnaby and Ralston at the fullback positions. What was your take on those two, Sean?
Ralston was absolutely heroic second half. That a couple of his tackles chasing back were absolutely. I think a couple of people mentioned it in the comments already, like game-saving tackles, the sort of thing you would credit as worth a goal. And Burnaby had a good game as well, less so in the second half, more so in the first half. But it was more of a Burnaby great first half, Ralston great second half, and the two of them were very effective. I don't know if I could blame anyone really for the Ross County goal, and I even think of a Ross County chance other than Matt O'Reilly maybe or maybe not handballing it inside the box.
Listen, I think it hits his hand, and it's either on the line or in the box, which
that's the question.
Was in the box. Remarkably similar to the Hearts non-penalty Ibrox, where it comes up and hits the player's hand like that. So, I guess the VAR officials sometimes think those are worth reviewing and sometimes not, depending if you're wearing hoops or not.
All I have to say on that, Lawrence, is there's no consistency there, and it needs to be fixed because what's good for the goose is good for the gander at the end of the day. If they're going to give one a penalty today, they've got to give the Hearts one a penalty. Or if the Hearts one's not a penalty, then today's not a penalty. It's that simple.
Well, there is consistency, though. Both decisions, Hearts, Celtic or favour Rangers. It's,
as I say, there's a form of consistency.
Yeah,
they're consistently being
consistent with the rules. Yeah, just not consistent with the rules.
All right, the centre backs today. So we had Carter Vickers and Jens starting, and then Jens goes off from a head knock, and Starfelt comes on. Sean, I'll throw to you.
Mhm.
Was your take on the centre backs today?
You know how much I love Carl Starfelt, and
Oh,
I,
he's your
I
best
actually
mate.
I thought Carter Vickers was solid throughout, as he always is, and I actually thought the substitution improved. As I thought Starfelt was an improvement on Jens when he came on, and I'm not normally a big fan of Starfelt playing on the left, but I did think he was better than Jens, and better than Jens has been in recent weeks. So it was. They were both good. Neither I can't blame them for anything, and I thought Starfelt did actually improve us when he came on in an attacking sense, but not significantly. But yes, it was an improvement.
There's a whole back catalogue of podcasts and that on the Celtic and Under YouTube channel, and then podcast app of Sean absolutely slating Starfelt last year. So there's
It,
proof is that
I'm pretty consistent with saying we can do better. Not Starfelt is an awful player. Just we can have a better player in there.
I'm just staring you, mate. Just staring you. But Lawrence, what's your take on the centre backs?
Again, you know, they're solid at the back, not much to do. 9 or 10 corners for us. I don't think we really threatened from any corners, did we? So maybe it could be a bit more a threat in the opposition's box, but yeah, they didn't have too much to do. And
Did their job well.
they brought it out. They brought it out well enough, you know. But at one point when we were watching the game, they were in the final third of the pitch, weren't they?
Yeah, we're talking
That's
about
right.
that.
Yeah, we were chatting about it. Yeah, it
Well,
was
we're
like what
watching it.
I think it was one each at that point.
Squeezed into and it was final third.
Yeah, it was 1-1. They were defending like two rows of five, and then you've got basically the top of the box, the 18-yard box, and then you've got both of them are probably 2 or 3 meters beyond that. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Listen, it's a solid partnership, isn't it? It's good to see Starkville getting back.
see why it's Ange's preferred one, because just like Carter Vickers, I think he seems a bit more assured with Starfelt next to him, because Starfelt's pretty good in the air, clears a lot of them. He's got a bit of speed about him, and he's also not afraid to shirk the physical. He doesn't shirk the physical contact. And Carter Vickers does the same sort of thing, so they cover for each other well. So I can see why Ange does that, plays those two together.
Yeah,
I thought in his first 3 or 4 games, I thought Jens was clearly a better player than Starfelt, but since then, Jens has dropped off and Starfelt is maintained. So I do actually, I was really championing for Jens to replace Starfelt, but I'm now kind of looking towards whatever the guy that's named after Die Hard, Nakatomi Towers, whatever his name is, the boy that's coming in.
Kobayashi.
Kobayashi, that's it. Kobayashi Maru, that's the one.
Come on, it's not Christmas yet, Sean. You can't talk about Die Hard.
I can remember it's not Die Hard, it's Star Trek, Kobayashi Maru. I knew there was some pop culture reference, but yeah, I'm hoping he kind of fills the void that I've been desperate for someone to take.
Yep. Okay, so we'll jump onto the midfield. So we had O'Reilly, Atate, and Turnbull together. For me, pre-game, Lawrence was talking up Turnbull. I'd rather O'Reilly playing further forward. I'm probably one of the few people who doesn't really rate him in the number 6 role as highly as they rate him playing as a number 10, but he's doing a job for us, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, I thought overall first half the midfield was pretty average. Second half they grew into the game, and yeah, Rio, O'Reilly in particular, they bossed that midfield in the second half. What do you think, Lawrence?
So Turnbull scored, but yeah, if we had a game next week, would they have done enough to keep his position in the team? I'm not too sure. Rio, bit quiet first half, definitely second half, but was running the show. And O'Reilly, yeah, he's deputising well at number 6. He was unlucky in the first half. He could have been on an assist for the ref calling that back for a non-existent foul, when he just comes in and takes the ball off a boy. So, solid enough performance. A wee bit disappointed Turnbull didn't do a bit more, but he scored. So, but yeah, I don't think he'd keep his place in the team if everyone was fit on that performance.
What about you, Sean?
I think O'Reilly's performance today and in the last 3 or 4 games is beyond reproach. He's been just one of the best players on the pitch. the only question today was that deliberate and deliberate and sensational and malicious punch of the ball in the air, was that inside the box or not, or was it outside the box? I mean, we all know he was cheating and in clear flagrant disregard of the rules when he swiped his hand to sweep the ball away from goal, but was it quite over the line or not? I'm not sure. Obviously, the Masonic referees had their view, and we had our view. And a lot of the comments coming through, Turnbull played well in spells, but a lot of the comments coming through are saying how sensational Hatate was, and I know you guys didn't quite agree, but I thought, I guess I was kind of focused on the second half. Really, I hadn't really bundled the first half into it, and then in the second half, Hatate was pretty sensational. He was combative, composed, like turning, strong, good passing, everything that you really want. The kind of performance where, if you go back 20 years and you talk about a Celtic Rangers game being won in the midfield, it was that kind of performance from Hatate today.
Even taking an elbow to the face right in front of the ref with no free kick. But then again,
how many of our guys took an elbow to the face today? Jack and Marcus did, Hatate did, and I think it was one other.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? With the ref, he was all over the place today. Even when he's starting the play for a bounce ball, it's not from where the ball was; it's where the guy was lying injured. You really need to apply the rules here, not make them up. But I thought the second half sensational performance from him. He really he upped his game, didn't he? But be a bit disappointed in Turnbull, even though he scored. Yeah, O'Reilly just continues to impress.
All right, then we'll jump onto the forward line. So Kyogo with Haksabanovic and Maeda is what started. And then there was sub later on Abada come on, Giacomakis come on, Jota come on, and a couple others. But yeah, well, what was your take on the forward line overall, Lawrence?
Well, Kyogo, I think he's starting to finish like a winger. What do they have, 16, 17 shots, 6 in target or something? Yeah.
I'll look the stats up while you keep talking about the others.
So, yeah, Maeda, I think he's good. He'd one that he put way wide into his left-footed shot when he cut in. Really needs to be finding the target with that. I think about a quiet game, but he still had his work rate up there, didn't he? Haksabanovic, standout. Yeah, I think he had to get subbed because of the harsh treatment he'd been getting. I think that's why that sub came about. A few times players have collected him late, or body checked him. So, Giacomakis held the ball up well. Unlucky not to score on a few occasions, but then again, we were talking about before, those shots that he's putting wide, he's not hitting the target with, and it's something we were talking about before kickoff. Where would you spend the money? I think if we'd a better quality striker, we'd have had a few more goals today.
I felt like Kyogo, when he's not touched the ball for like 10 plus minutes, what he does is he kind of comes deep, and he doesn't necessarily contribute well when he does, but you can tell that he's kind of trying to get involved after a kind of spell of the game kind of passing him by, and you feel bad for him because if it's not kind of falling for him, he does feel like he's not contributing. He does do things that he's not supposed to be doing, and that's not his fault. His job and his instruction is to kind of be on the end of things, and if it's not coming for him, it's not his fault. And that happened midweek, and it happened again today, and it's a shame, but you can't fault his industry, and you can't fault his forward movement. It's up to everyone else, really. On the right wing, we had Maeda replaced by Abada, and they both did the same thing. When they had the ball in good positions, they made bad choices and skied a couple of crosses. And then on the left, we had Haksabanovic, who was largely pedestrian for long spells, but was also strong and composed, and when it counted, and scored the winning goal. And Jota didn't quite get into the pace of it with enough time when he came on, but the left was definitely stronger than the right today. And I think based on that, if we had more games next week, I would like to see Forest coming back in on the right. But Maeda and Abada were largely ineffective.
The thing you were talking about there, Sean, with Kyogo coming deep, trying to get involved, it's the evolution of Ange Ball that we talk about, where a lot of the way we play, Kyogo should be on the edge of the centre backs, on their shoulders, trying to get in behind so the ball to be played through for him to use his speed to get onto it. If that doesn't happen, he still should be running through the line, getting himself in a deliberate offside position. Then we should be having that diagonal ball out to our wingers, who then run him on side and bring it across to him. That's how it's always worked with Ant over here at South Melbourne, at Brisbane, at Melbourne Victory. For Australia, that's what the evolution is. If you can't get it to him through the midfield, you go wide and get it back to him. Now, the issue is him coming deep like that means even if we do the diagonal ball, there's no one for them to target. So then they reverse the ball back into the midfield, which is what we were seeing in the first half. So I understand him wanting to get involved, but sometimes him doing that is actually to the detriment of the team.
Yeah, we had these conversations last year where we were talking about, Kyogo only touched the ball 6 times. And it's like, well, he scored 3 goals. Do you know, like that was the sort of conversation last year.
He doesn't need to touch the ball 20 times a game.
Exactly.
Listen, I'm kind of with Jared here. When he comes back, he's not stretching the pitch, is he? He's making the pitch smaller for us when he's dropping that. I think it's a bad sign when your striker's doing that.
Yeah.
Listen, then again, we're 15 games in. We've scored 50 goals. Do you think we'll make the 100 in the league this year?
Lawrence, I think we're on track for a lot more than 100. What have we played? 14 games and scored 48 goals. So
you did the
50 goals in 15.
Hold on. The maths puts us in 130 goals for the season, if I'm right.
And our record in the league was the Invincible season when we scored 103 or 106 or something like that.
I think it's 106, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we scored at this rate, it'd be 126 and 230 goals. But I think the scoring rate's kind of dropped off a wee bit, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, and you would expect that. But we might come out of traps mid-December. We'll see.
So what do you reckon? Do you reckon we'll bust 110 goals in?
Well, look, we've played a lot more. We've played one more away game than home games. And I think in our next 6 games, we've also got more away games than home games. So we should, after January onwards, we should technically have a lot more home games. But that doesn't necessarily work that way. It can, there's a lot more factors that play into it. But yeah, once we get out of winter, if we've got everyone, we've done a pretty good job keeping players fit this year, relatively speaking. So.
Don't say that. Don't say that, mate.
I know I'm jinxing it, but look, 13 wins out of 14 is absolutely sensational form. Like, that's St Mirren win aside, St Mirren defeat, excuse me, aside, that is bizarrely sensational form. Is it 15? No, we've played 14. Am I wrong? Is he including
14, 15
Sorry,
wins.
you're right, it is 14 out of 15. Sorry, I'm
14 out of
talking
15, 50 goal scores. We never stop from James McGrory.
Spot on. It is 14 out of 15. Sorry, I was taking one off us. 14 out of 15 is sensational form, to be totally honest with you.
So we could be saying 110, 120 goals for Celtic in the league this campaign.
If the maths plays out, we should be breaking
maths
records.
Plays out, 100, almost 127 goals, but
with maths,
and if we sign it, a top class striker in the transfer window. Somebody that could, of the level that score goals in the Champions League. Where would we end up?
Well, look, our recent problem has not been scoring goals. Our recent problem has been not handballing it. So,
our camera's not working.
Most of our goals recently have come from penalties, right? So Ross County, penalty. Motherwell, open play. Dundee United, 1 penalty, 1 open play. Livingston, no goals. Hearts, 2 penalties, 1 open play. We're more penalties than we are goals from open play in the last 5 games. So we need to figure out how to not concede penalties, apparently, based on, if you look at the numbers, that's what we need to work out.
Nicholson just needs to say to the cameraman, turn the cameras away, film the dugout.
Yeah. Hold on,
let me count. They would accept that at Celtic Park?
Since the Hearts game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 handballs? Is that right? Hold on. One,
It's just,
two,
it's just nuts.
3, 4. At least 4 handballs.
It's
in the
ridiculous,
last.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. But anyway, we all know how bad it's been with the VAR. We know how bad the ref was today. It doesn't really matter. It does, but at the same time, we still pick up the 3 points. Sevco drop points, 9 points clear, going into the World Cup break. Happy days. Now, what I'll do before we go to some of the comments is a couple of little shout outs here. So there's 497 of you currently watching live that I can see. Now, what I want to say is if you haven't already subscribed to the Celtic State of Mind YouTube channel, please do so. They're 200 subscribers off 20,000. If you also haven't subscribed to the Celtic Down Under YouTube channel, please do so because we want to get to 1,000 pretty soon. So hopefully by the end of the year. So if you can do that for us, we'd really appreciate that. Second thing is coming out soon for the charity weekend. State of Mind has their single that the Wakes are recording. Keep an eye on all the social medias for that. Paul will be releasing all of that stuff on all the social media channels, Twitter. It'll be on the YouTube channel. You can guarantee. If everyone who subscribes can get that for £1 or £1.50, whatever it costs, the charity weekend is going to raise more than it did last year. It goes to a good cause. So I just wanted to give that an early shout out as well there because I know Paul's working hard on that. So love to do what we do and give back to the club and charities around it. So I bring that up for that reason. So now we'll go to a few of your comments before we wrap the episode up here. So Craig M was, you control all you want, you can't stop us.
We never stop.
Forever and ever Celtic, the difference our fans make when in the game like the second half, can't put a value on them. What are your thoughts on that, Lawrence?
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? It's huge for all the players that visit it, say that, the Celtic crowd is amazing, the best to play in front of. Yeah, absolutely. They drive the players on for performances because it's got to be hard for the players. You're in a game, the ref is making just decisions that just aren't decisions, isn't it? It's just, listen, today you've just got to say it's cheating. You just failed to apply the rules and made things up to suit Ross County and to harm Celtic. And we still found a way with the backing of the fans to overcome that. Big Paddy from Ire Og is looking for a shout out. Paddy, oh, what a day that was.
Actually, better bring that up for you.
Live in the Brazen Head, man. Oh, if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. But yeah, what a day that was. Way back in the 90s.
All right.
Yes. Hello, Paddy.
We'll go to the next one here. So, comment here from Pat Maguire. We should have a Christmas whip around for our wonderful ball boys. How quick they get things back into play. Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think the players should be doing that as a thank you. Shouldn't be the fans. But at the end of the day, yep, they all deserve a pat on the back and good little Christmas present.
I seen some Sevco fan media thing where they were complaining that their ball boys were not as good as ours. It was hilarious.
It's just, man, I think that the bigger problem is their players aren't as good and their manager
they were literally.
If that's the thing they spot that's holding them back, it's the ball boys. Get better ball boys would be challenging.
They were honest to God. That is what
we know that when there's a lot of people who love music on the State of Mind channel and Acsom, so in the immortal words of Justin Timberlake, cry me a river. That's all I have to say. All right, so we've got a comment here from Paul, which was, we will have interest in Hatate, O'Reilly and Juranovic in January. Who will we keep? So, Lawrence, what's your take on that?
Keep Hatate, keep O'Reilly, sell Juranovic. But I think it's down to the players, Anne just said it, if they don't want to be here, they don't need to be here. So, yeah. But I think it'd be easy to persuade Rio and Hatate that, another year here, at least is in their best interest, Whereas Juranovic, I think this is his last big move, isn't it? I think that's probably the right time to sell him, especially if he's a good World Cup. I would take anything, 8-10 million, maybe a wee bit more. I would trust Ange and Tosh to invest that wisely.
I'll look at that and go, Hatate, yeah, I'd love to keep him. I think there's got extra levels he can go at. O'Reilly, same deal. Juranovic at his age, yeah, he's got one big move left in him. But if the rumours bouncing around all over the Celtic Twitter and social media channels about certain two of those guys not really liking how driven and how vocal certain manager is, then they can jog on, we'll take the money, put in the bank, reinvest in the team. So yeah, Tade definitely. O'Reilly, if he stays, he has to play in the 10 role. Juranovic, yeah, we'll move him on and replace him. What do you reckon, Sean?
Oh, I totally agree with everything you guys said, particularly what Lawrence has said. I'm very 50-50 on whether O'Reilly stays or not. I'd be surprised if Juranovic stays, especially if he has a good World Cup. But I'd expect Tate to stay until at least the summer, especially since he's not playing in the World Cup.
Man of the match today, Rio Hatate. There you go. Just came
Was
up.
that either Rio or Tony, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it'd be one of those two. Yeah, it's just came up on their Twitter now.
And
makes sense.
any
Especially
comment on the
since
refs' performance from Celtic? Are we just going to have to wait and just? Or do you think we'll comment again and just say, look,
who was the Mason of the match?
I was going to say man of the match today for Sevco was our referee.
yeah, he destroyed the game, didn't he? Let's be honest. You know.
Yep.
Ross County falls over, free kick. The VAR decision. Early doors when O'Reilly wins that ball and he's sliding it through to Kyogo. And he gives another just a free kick. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, exactly as you said. So what we'll do now, the league goes into a 5-week hiatus. Sydney Super Cup coming up this week. So we'll bring up a comment here from Martin Bickett. Boys, I'm heading to Sydney with my kids. Where should we go on Thursday? Want my sons to learn some choice Irish folk songs.
With your kids? Jeez.
Yeah, good on him. Father of the year right there. Happy days. I actually have that info on the phone for you, so just give me a second to bring it up. So the Sydney City Celtic Supporters Club on Thursday, they've got they've got a band playing from 4 till 7. Sydney FC versus Celtic is at 7:45, and then there's another band on at Scruffy Murphy's, their CSC pub, from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m.
They've just celebrated their 40th, haven't they? Is it 40th anniversary? Raised a fortune for charity.
Yeah. Like 20 grand went to Celtic Foundation, 7 grand or something went to the Kano Foundation, 3 grand to an Indigenous one over here, and 3 grand went to the John Hartson Foundation.
Phenomenal.
$33,000 or something like that. So great effort from those guys, and make sure you give them any support if you're coming over to see Celtic play at the Sydney Super Cup. Make sure you jump in at Scruffy Murphy's, which is their pub in town.
Where is that? Is that in Maroubra or Bondi or?
No, it's in the main CBD near Darling Harbour. So it's pretty central to everything. It's like in the middle between the two stadiums. So I know, like, I'm staying a 5-minute walk from there, so we'll be in and about in there as well. So if people want to come in and
buy you a pint,
one of these flags from me, they can come find me.
They'll be able to buy you a pint. Is that what you're saying?
They can buy me a pint if they want, or they can buy a flag. Either option, happy days.
Indeed, yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, Sydney Super Cup. You looking forward to seeing that at all, Lawrence?
I am.
Or are you going to have a break for football?
Getting up at 3:45.
Yeah, we never take a break for football. We never stop. It's 24/7 Celtic. Yeah. Listen, it'd be interesting to see what Ange tries out there. You know, if he tries anything different. I know young Rocco Batta's going. I'd love to see him get some minutes. I think Robertson's going, Wilson Lowell, yeah. But yeah, it'd be real interesting to see if young Rocco getting some minutes. Because you talked about getting a number 10. I know he can play winger or striker, but I reckon he could do a job at number 10 as well. It'd just be interesting to see what he's got. Because I think kind of the level he's playing at, he's definitely above that. I think he won Player of the Month there. So yeah, I'd love to see him get minutes in the team and see what he does at a higher level.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see what the go is. And Sean, what are you looking forward to with the old Sydney Super Cup?
Oh, I'm looking forward to giving you a big hug, Jared, when I see you.
It's horrible.
And I won't be arriving. I'll miss the thing on the Friday. Is it the Customs House? Is that where it is?
Yeah.
Where the team's meeting up with
the Adidas Activation Zone, as they're calling it.
Yeah, I'll miss that because I'm coming out after work on the Friday. But I'm looking forward to hopefully connecting with some fans on the Saturday and having a good day on the Sunday. Yeah, just really getting in touch with all the Celtic fans out there and kind of because I'm used to meeting everyone from the Perth, the Western Australian Perth CSC, but it'll be good to meet people from all over Australia.
You can still buy zinc there. Will the fans be having to wear the bright green zinc sunblock? Is that still a thing,
Sure,
You,
they
you
will.
can find it. You can still find it, but you probably have to go to a chemist to get it. I don't know anywhere else that sells it.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can
that
get all
stuff was amazing. I remember my brother Eamon brought it back in the 90s and we used to wear it at the games.
Yeah, you can get all colours.
Yeah, so if you're out in the sun over there, make sure you get the bright green zinc.
Yeah,
Happy
makes
days.
sense.
Bring it back with you. And yeah, for me, I'm just looking forward to it. It's going to be great to, as I was saying to the boys, it's going to be great to see Celtic play live for the first time since 2011, when last time they were out here for me. So it'll be great to not have to get up at stupid o'clock like today's kickoff was 2 a.m. for me, Melbourne. So when you guys get a 3:45 kickoff over in Glasgow, all
So
I have
what
to
time
say,
is it going to be kick off? I'm wondering what time. Am I staying up all night for the Sydney Super Cup? Is what basically I'm asking.
yeah, it'll basically be a role reversal for you guys over there for the game against Everton in particular. The game against Sydney, because it's a night game here, there's 11 hours time difference. So
That's
if it's
all
an
right.
8 o'clock kickoff here, 8 p.m., you're probably looking at, what's that, like 9 a.m. or something around about that. So decent kickoff time for you guys for the Sydney game. The game against Everton, that's going to be 3:45 kickoff for you lot. So over there, but
Stay up all night.
all I have to say is welcome to our world.
Hey, just stay up all night.
Yeah,
Get
make
some
an all-nighter. Happy days.
vodka Red Bulls.
Exactly. So, yeah, Paul said he'll be back next week. I think there'll be some live coverage as well for the games over here.
During
As
the
Sean
week,
was saying,
when he
you
comes
think
back,
so?
he might be coming back with another trophy for Acsom at the Football Podcast Awards, which are in
Nice.
Manchester.
Good luck at the Acsom, and yeah, hope to
And
pick up some more.
Natasha's up for a reward as well.
Yep.
We will see.
So, fingers crossed for the ball, and yeah, we'll wrap up this podcast. I've got two things left to say. I got one last comment to bring up from JJ Celtic. I'm off for 9 points. 9 points. And
I'm
for
off
me,
I'm off for 9 hours of sleep.
all I've got to say is I can't wait to watch listen to Super Scoreboard tomorrow. Yes. Cue the meltdown. Happy days. Hail, hail, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show, enjoyed the win, and enjoy your World Cup break and tune in to the Sydney Super Cup.
9.